It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Hey, good morning and welcome to the Travel and Cruise Industry News podcast on the 28th day of November, 2023. We've almost got another month in the bag this year. Quick announcement, and I'll hopefully repeat it again during the show. Tomorrow's show will be like normal, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Thursday and Friday, both days, the show will go live early, about 9 o'clock, I'm hoping. Thursday, of course, will be from the studio here. I will leave right after I process the show and head for Orangeburg, South Carolina. Should easily be able to make it Thursday. It's not, it's halfway to Port Canaveral, roughly. So I will, then on Friday morning, I will do the show from Orangeburg, from the hotel in my bedroom, probably, at 9 o'clock also. So Thursday and Friday, early start if you want to watch it live. If you want to watch it at 11 o'clock, then the replay will be up and you can do that also. Today was kind of an unusual day news-wise because, I could have made any one of these stories the top story of the day. High winds prompt cancellation. Bimini welcomes 1 millionth guest. Princess to Homeport in Port Canaveral. Celebrity Ascent, brand new ship, makes it to the U.S. And Royal Caribbean takes delivery of Icon of the Seas. That and a lot more here at 11 o'clock this morning. Today, folks, is National French Toast Day. I like that. I enjoy French toast. And I was just talking to somebody, I can't remember now who it was, but a couple days ago, that makes stuffed French toast, I think it was called. And they sent me a recipe. I haven't tried it yet. I haven't gotten Jean or Amanda to try it yet, but I'm going to. So, but I like French toast. Sometimes when I'm on a cruise ship, especially if I'm on longer cruises and I get tired of what I normally eat at breakfast, whether it's in the buffet or, like this next cruise, I'm going to be in the dining room every day. And it just as a change of pace, I'll get French toast fairly often, especially in the buffet, just to have a change up, something different. I like French toast. All right, if you're listening via the podcast, you're always welcome here, of course. You can access the podcast via my blog, which is accessadventure.net, or wherever you get your podcasts from. TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Podchaser, Pandora, Google Podcasts, Apple Pod, any of them. Just search for travel and cruise industry news, and up pops the fat travel guy. Anytime you're listening via the podcast and want to jump over to the video feed, there's always a link in the description of the podcast to do just that. All right, before we get to the news today, I have a couple things to share. Not a whole lot, but, a couple. Last night, Emma, who's on the World Europa, or Europa, however you want to pronounce it, she went to a specialty dining. She went to the taco, I forget what you call it now. Anyway, she went to the Mexican specialty restaurant. She normally doesn't do, but she was able to match, I don't know, Norwegian with MSC, and she ended up getting a free specialty dining. So she took it there and really enjoyed that. I think it was like all you can eat tacos or something. I don't know. Anyway. This one, this is Lizzie, of course. And Lizzie is on the Arabia. Look at the size of this hot tub, y'all. I mean, that's obviously a big round, I'm assuming round. It goes all the way around hot tub. But look at the size of that. I mean, just what we're seeing there, that's got to be what, 20 feet? And no telling how much bigger it is, but at least I would say 4 times what we're seeing there. Is that a 100-foot hot tub? I don't know. We'll have to ask Lizzie about that hot tub. All right, this is Hot Air Tom's office at Amber Cove today. So he goes to breakfast this morning. And he complained yesterday, and he talked about it on the show. I couldn't tell if he was trying to make a funny or if he was serious. Well, it turns out he's serious about having some loose boards on his balcony. So obviously, he took my advice and complained. He gets back from breakfast this morning, and this is what he finds. They've torn up the entire balcony and are replacing all of it because it had a couple loose boards. So anyway, and that of course is the view at Amber Cove. I've said many times, Amber Cove's one of my favorite stops in the Caribbean. It's it's nice and clean and level, and I can roll all over it. I love the guys in It's a Canna Lounge. I often go there and have usually multiple pina coladas. I walk in the door of the Canna Lounge, and somebody is going to pop up and say, "Hey, Chillie's back, y'all. Fix him a pina colada." So I get a nice welcome there. But I like Amber Cove. So, all right, the top story today, folks, comes from Ovation of the Seas. And by the way, if you haven't done so already, smash that thumbs up button, please. If you haven't subscribed, please do that. We're up to 47, 71, 72. I think it was the last time I looked. So we should hit, 4,800 by the time I get on this cruise. Maybe we'll hit 5,000 before I get off the cruise. That would be awesome. All right, Royal Caribbean Ovation of the Seas was forced to abandon docking attempts in Wellington, New Zealand, due to high winds this morning. According to Radio New Zealand, the ship was able to approach the dock, but after a pilot boarded the vessel and consulted with the ship's captain, it was decided that Ovation of the Seas would not be docking. This means the ship will instead spend a day at sea en route to the next port of call, Napier, on the 10-night New Zealand itinerary. And somebody's going to say, well, you got that close. Why? Why didn't you go on a dock? Remember how many instances we've had this year where ships have been docked and high winds broke mooring lines and damaged other vessels, and that vessel, not to mention the pier. This obviously was another one of those situations. If I'd been on the ship, I would have been upset over losing Wellington. That's a great stop. But I understand the safety of not only the ship, the crew, and the passengers, and winds can be a major deterrent, folks. All right, I'll be back with the next story after a quick break from one of our network sponsors. All right, the next story this morning comes from on the other side of the world. We're going from New Zealand all the way over to Bimini in the Bahamas. The Bimini cruise port, developed by Resorts World Bimini, has officially welcomed its 1 millionth cruise guest. The lucky guests were aboard Virgin Voyages Scarlet Lady, which called on the destination actually on Thanksgiving Day. What an occasion to mark Thanksgiving. George and Andrea Salcido of Plantation, Florida, were greeted with balloons and a champagne toast, marking their arrival as the 1 millionth guest to visit the port. In addition, the couple was presented with a gift certificate for a 2-night stay at the Hilton Hotel at Resorts World Bimini, including free ferry transportation to and from Fort Lauderdale aboard the come on, tongue, the Bellaria. There we go. All right. Congratulations to Bimini and to the couple on board the Scarlet Lady. All right, Princess Cruises, folks. It's heading to Port Canaveral. Caribbean Princess will sail its inaugural voyage from Port Canaveral on November the 27th. That was yesterday. The first cruise from Central Florida will visit Grand Turk on a 4-day Thanksgiving voyage. The cruise ship will homeport at Port Canaveral through April 2025, offering 20 cruises to the Eastern and Western Caribbean. So good for Princess. The new homeport. I like Princess a lot. I need to spend more time on Princess this year than I have in the past. Working on a Alaska cruise on Princess again for this year, which I hope to be able to announce here in the next day or so. All right, the newest ship in the Celebrity line, Celebrity Ascent, that's the newest cruise ship from Celebrity Cruises, arrived in Florida for the first time this weekend, and the vessel departed on its inaugural cruise from Port Everglades. And you know who was on the Celebrity Ascent as she sailed into Port Everglades for the first time? Our own Mr. Bucket List. As much as I tried to say that he's still over there on the camel because he couldn't get off and fell in love with the camel or whatever I said in the pyramids, Mr. Bucket List did hitchhike on the Ascent across the transatlantic, and he's back in Florida now. And this was probably the biggest story of the day, folks. Just that everybody else is talking about it, and I decided, I'm going to put this at the bottom. Royal Caribbean has taken delivery of the largest cruise ship in history, Icon of the Seas. Icon of the Seas is the first of a new class of cruise ship from Royal Caribbean. We won't see it until January of 2024 when it offers cruises from Miami to the Caribbean. The cruise ship took more than 900 days to build at Meyer-Werft Shipyard in Papenburg, Germany. The ship will now head from the shipyard to Turku, Finland, from Turku, Meyer-Werft in Turku, Finland, not Papenburg, Germany. It's going to head from Turku, Finland to Cadiz, Spain, where Royal Caribbean will put the finishing touches on the ship before its debut in just 61 days. Kind of an interesting sideline. An owl hitched a ride aboard the Icon of the Seas during the ship's final sea trials earlier this month. Cruise ship engineers and crew members know that sea trials can be exhausting, and apparently even more so when one is an owl supervising the work. Meyer Turku, the shipyard constructing the massive cruise ship, reported the stowaway and how it was helped. The bird was helped to recover for a couple of days and was successfully released back to the wild. So, good for Meyer Turku, good for Icon of the Seas, good for Royal Caribbean. I mean, that's a ship that I think everybody has got to get on at one time, and it's going to be here and just around the corner. So I know several of you are already booked on cruises for Icon of the Seas. I am not yet. As most of you know, I am too tight to book on many. I did it once last year on the Seascape, but I don't usually go for the early cruises when the prices are still ridiculously high. All right, that ends up the news portion of today's show, folks. Let's go see who's fussing at me in the chat room today. Mike is with us. Steve's with us out in Kentucky. Sonny's with us down in Mississippi. There's Joanne. Good morning. That French toast recipe is delish. Yeah, gonna try that. Hot Air Tom is here on time, where it's 12 noon in Amber Cove. Why is it 12 noon in Amber Cove? That's strange. You should be back on normal time at Amber Cove. Oh well. The cruise ships do their own thing. Gary Older Than Dirt's here. Hey, Gary. Is it crowded in Dominican Republic, Hot Air Tom? I don't know. I am in an aft cabin seeing the view Chillie is showing. Yes. So he's not really seeing the other end of the ship. Nice office, Hot Air Tom. Mardi Gras is next to us, so probably lots of carnival folks. Nikki's here down in Jacksonville. Hi, Nick. Hot Air has payroll to get done today. Well, send me a check, Hot Air. No, you don't have to do that, Hot Air Tom. So decided to not have any carnival brawls. Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't get off and like do the zip line or something. Go up to the top of the mountain and ride the zip line down to the pool. I don't know where the zip line goes. It goes over the pool. But that would be something that you would do, Hot Air. There's Cindy. Good morning, gang. Had an awesome time on Margarita at Sea Paradise. I am so happy that you did, Cindy. You know, like I've said all the time, and I did it before the last dry dock. I love the ship. It sucked for, accessibility issues, but I love the ship. I love the vibe. I love the people. I love the food. The drinks were good. It was just that it was tough for. I had to use my own little scooter because they aren't hooked up with Will or Scooter Round in West Palm. That's something I'm working on, however. Emily says, hello, everybody. Hi, Em. Jim is with us in Louisville, another Louisville person. Hi, Jim. Jim, we have Steve is out in Louisville. You'll see him often here. I get to Louisville usually a couple times a year. My son lives in Louisville. So, yeah, you'll hear Louisville mentioned on the show numerous times. Nice to have you. Gretchen's here up in Ohio. Hi, Gretchen. Hot Air says Puerto Rico. Oh, Puerto Rico and Dominican Republic are Atlantic time. Okay. Cindy says totally smooth on Margaritaville at Sea. Nice. Going again in a few weeks. Well, what people don't understand, and they have run specials a lot. It's an inexpensive weekend to get away on a ship. And yeah, for now, you're just going over to Freeport and coming back. That's going to change. They're going to start adding 3 days. And I think eventually you're going to see once they get the second ship and it's refurbished and everything, I think you're going to see them start tying in cruises with the Margaritaville resorts that they have scattered throughout the Caribbean. I think that would be awesome. Sail from West Palm, let's say, to a resort in Turks and Caicos. You get off the ship, you stay there for 4 days or something. The ship comes back. You get back on the ship and you sail back. I think that would be awesome. So I think that's where they're heading eventually. Cindy says the drinks were really good. Hot Air says if you're there over the summer, the time is the same because they don't do daylight savings time. Ah. All right. Hot Air says my left leg is injured, so no difficult excursions on this cruise. Seeing the acupuncture doctor and massage therapist for knee and back. Those 80-pound bags of cement are hard on the back. Yeah. I wasn't going to play about you hurting Hot Air Tom because I know that can be miserable. And I realized that you got it done at the expense of your knee and your back. So, but yeah, and next time, Hot Air Tom, just pay a contractor to come in and put that damn thing up. Spend a little bit of that money. Steve says, hey, Jim, Louisville guy here. Very good. It's always nice to have. I didn't get to ask Jim if he's a bourbon drinker, because I sure am. And Jim, if you're still listening to us, Elijah Craig is my personal brand. So, and it was really nice on the last cruise I was on, which was on MSC Meraviglia 2 weeks ago. They had Elijah Craig. That's the only ship I've ever found with Elijah Craig on it. It was awesome. Yeah, I loved it. Cindy says, I went the second trip to go from Tampa. We didn't even get off the ship in Freeport. We enjoyed the pool all to ourselves and did all the activities. Yeah, I mean it's a nice vibe again for a couple $100 for the weekend. Man, it's pretty nice, and they run all kinds of special for anybody in the medical field, and anybody, any first responders. I mean, they run stuff constantly, so that's pretty good. Maker's Mark, yeah. Maker's Mark was that was the second bourbon that I drank when I was at the University of Kentucky. The first was Rebel Yell. I remember that well, all those 50 years ago. But Maker's was the next one. And then I've been drinking Elijah Craig now for, 20 years maybe. My son has represented the distillery industry several times. And when I was out there one time, we went out. I think we went to a display of Elijah Craig put on by the distillery, and I tasted it there. Met the rep, and we've been friends ever since. And I've been a big time drinker of Elijah Craig. It looks like we've been bombed here. Get rid of that. Steve says he drinks all sorts of bourbon. Yeah, it's good stuff. My friend is in the medical field and has the Heroes Pass, and they gave us a free cruise also on the sailing. Very nice. And Steve's not particular on the brand of bourbon. Well, I mean, obviously, I'm not that much either, although I definitely tend toward better stuff. If I'm on a ship that, most ships don't have Elijah, I'm going to want, Bullet or Woodford. Makers, if sometimes they have makers, I'll have that. But I'm pretty set on Kentucky bourbons. They got to be good bourbons, and I enjoy them. I love them to death. All right, guys, that's going to wrap me up for today. Again, just to repeat, tomorrow's show will be normal at 11 o'clock. Thursday and Friday, the live portion of the show will be at 9 o'clock. Thursday from here in studio, Friday from Orangeburg, South Carolina. Saturday, I will be getting on board and hosting a group on the Norwegian, group of solos, by the way, on the Norwegian escape out of Port Canaveral. Really looking forward to this week with these folks. So it's going to be an exciting week. Of course, it's always good to be on a different ship. I've not been on escape before, and I'm looking forward to that. And I'm looking forward to getting with a bunch of my friends that I made on the Joy that did the solo that are repeating this. We got 5 or 6 that are with us. There's Eddie Yo-Yo Brooklyn in the house. Hi, y'all. Eddie says he's down in Atlanta. Cindy says, I love Escape. Yeah, I do. I sure will. So, all right, guys, that's it for today. As always, stay safe, stay healthy. Think about cruising. And hopefully one day soon we'll all get together on the high seas, maybe on Margaritaville at Sea or the Escape or the Ascent or any other cruises. Yeah, we ought to do that sometime. All right, guys, have a phenomenal day. I'll see everybody tomorrow. Have a great day, everybody.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. So if you like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner. Hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chillie's Cruises.